Thing number one, Gary, we're talking about the world's largest uranium producer. They made some production cuts into increasing demand. Thing number one, Gary, the world's largest uranium producer cuts their production.
All right, Rob, there's a mispronunciation warning coming. The world's largest uranium producer, there's 100% probability I mispronounce the word. I think it is pronounced Kazatomprom.
That's
Uh,
how I would have guessed. And I was definitely leaving that one for you
yeah,
without saying anything within the intro.
for those of you more familiar with Eastern European languages, put how to pronounce it in the comments. We'll appreciate the help. Anyway, DKI started buying uranium in 2021 because we thought energy, also with gold and Bitcoin, all good ways to hedge against inflation that we saw coming, that we thought was going to be significant. We paid about half the current price. Um, what happened earlier this year is Cameco, the big Canadian producer, came out and they said that they were not going to produce enough uranium. Again, this is multiple years in a row. They were not going to produce enough uranium to satisfy their contracts. And the contracts they have are actually below the current market price. And so Cameco is flat out saying we will lose money on incremental production. We would rather do that than increase production. And that's pretty interesting. So last week, we got the announcement from, we'll just say the world's largest uranium producer, because I'm not going to mispronounce the name twice. Um, but these guys came out a while back and they increased their production estimate. And then after that, they came out and they announced that they were going to increase it again. So they increased production estimates twice. Well, guess what? Last week, the key takeaway from the press release was the announcement of a reduction in planned uranium production. They went the exact opposite direction. They were expecting, this is at the high end, 31,500 tons. They're now down to 26,500. Now, the key thing here is uranium supply is not going to be going up, but demand is not going down. Rob, there's only one thing that can adjust there. What do you think it is?
I think it's going to be the price,
It's
Gary.
it's going to be the price. Exactly. So the key thing here is Kazatomprom, again, maybe
I got you.
mispronouncing. I'm just going to stop saying it. Um, Not only is it hard to increase mine production, a key thing is everybody's having difficulty getting supply of sulfuric acid. The reason that matters is it's crucial for the uranium extraction process. So you take the basically a lot out of the ground and to distill it down into pure uranium, you need sulfuric acid. So if these companies can't get it, they're decreasing production estimates, and that doesn't change the required supply, the required demand rather. So it's a situation where supply isn't going up, but demand is.
Gary, you've been bullish on this for years, as you mentioned. You consistently do advise though owning physical uranium to the miners. Can you talk a little bit more about that, and then maybe even what some of those positions are that you're keen on?
Yeah, we get this question a lot when people find out I own the physical uranium. One of the best ways to do it is through the Sprott Trust. The ticker there is SRUUF. Um, and they say, wait a minute, if the price of uranium is going to go up, won't you get more leverage? Won't you get better returns out of the miners? And that is often technically true. The reason is these companies that are leveraged to this price. And so if the price of gold goes up, the earnings of gold miners will go up more. If the price of uranium goes up, the price of uranium miners and producers will often go up more. And so they say, wait, if this is your thesis, why don't you own the operating companies, the miners? And it's a great question. And the reason I don't is because then you're taking on operating risk. And so you have to deal with management teams. You have to deal with estimates of like grade. How much stuff do they have underground, whether it's the gold miners or the uranium miners? Do they understand how much they have underground? Is the management team good? Do they have labor contract issues? One of the reasons we haven't seen the huge run up in gold mining companies that we have in gold is because labor costs have gone through the roof, right? They have to deal with unions. There are permitting issues. And in this case, even though more and more nuclear plants are being built and the existing nuclear plants, many of them, their useful lives are being extended, meaning we have increasing demand for uranium. But here's a situation where these companies can't get supply of sulfuric acid. So great, go produce more. And they're actually producing less. And so, when we look at companies like the world's largest uranium miner, and they say we can't get what we need to produce more, we're going to produce less. Or you look at Cameco, and they tell you, yeah, we're not going to increase mining capacity. We're going to lose money satisfying our existing contracts. That's the exposure I don't want. Now, there are people who are really smart mining investors, and they know these management teams, and they know the labor issues, and they know the permitting issues, and they're great at that, and I'm sure they'll do really well. This is a situation where I have a very clear thesis on uranium supply and demand. Demand is going up and will go up before supply does. At some point, supply will adjust, but not fast enough. And so I want the pure play bet. That's why I'm playing the physical. Nothing against the people who like the miners. Just for me, this is the cleanest way to do it. And results like we saw last week are a perfect example of why I'm invested the way I am on this.